What's going on, folks? Eric here from Fix Your Car. So today we're talking about spark plugs. Now, spark plugs have come a long way. Used to be you have to change spark plugs every 25,000 miles. They were made of a kind of inferior metal called copper, and now we actually have these spark plugs that are made out of iridium, and they can last much longer. Some manufacturers suggest that you can go up to 120,000 miles before you need to replace them. I'd say that depends. It kind of depends on what brand of spark plug you're talking about. I prefer to use like NGK. I think them and Denso, I believe that they have the best spark plugs, and that's actually what we're using. So we have this 2015 Chevy Traverse, and we're doing some other maintenance on it as well right now. We got the thermostat housing out. We just replaced the water pump, and therefore I got this air duct removed right here. So you'll typically have to remove that when you do this spark plug job. Uh, but the thing is with this motor, this is actually kind of the worst case scenario on spark plugs. It's one of the harder ones to do because the intake manifold is on top of our spark plug, so we're going to have to take off our intake manifold first. So in all the other applications, if you have a V8, if you have a 4-cylinder, typically those are much more accessible. But if you have one of these V6s, kind of mid-size SUVs, the motor will be in there sideways, and typically the intake manifold will be on top of it. Because it's not in a forward-facing engine configuration. But nonetheless, it's not super hard to do. It's something you should do to keep your vehicle running at proper levels. And I'm going to show you just kind of how easy it is. But on a job like this is where a shop could kind of really take advantage of you. You know, doing some labor on some of these in the past, I've seen these as low as like $700-800 all the way up to $1,500 to do spark plugs. I did a spark plug job on a Lexus RX 350, and I'll have that video on my YouTube channel soon, but you'll see in that video how much stuff I had to take off to get to that, and that was probably around a $1,500 spark plug job. And it cost me maybe 4 or 5 hours of time, and maybe an afternoon, but nonetheless saved a ton of money doing it. So let's show you how to replace these spark plugs. This might be one of the little longer videos, but I want to show you just how easy it is to do, and you can definitely do this yourself, and you should do it yourself. Okay, now first thing we're going to do, as I mentioned before, this intake hose is removed, but we're going to start unplugging a lot of other sensors right now. So this sensor right here, I believe this is called a map sensor. I'm going to disconnect that one. You can either do that or pull it out from its housing. Here's our purge valve for our emissions. So you just push down on this, release it, pull it out. And same thing with this connector, pull it out. We have a connector here on our throttle body. Now some people want you to remove the throttle body. I don't personally believe you have to, but this would be a good opportunity if you saw my previous video to clean the throttle body, and this makes it a lot easier when you have everything removed. So we're going to remove that, and then I believe we're going to have to disconnect this hose right here. And the next thing, we have our 10mm bolt sitting here on top. So remove that. Set it to the side. That's loose. We can start disconnecting this. Be careful with that plastic hose, you don't want to break that. Removed. And we can start disconnecting our bolts. Crack them loose first. These are 13mm. I need a wrench for that one probably. And now that we have all those cracked loose, I'm gonna move these off. That one you're probably going to have to lift out with the tank. Too much in the way. Same thing on that one. Sometimes what you can do, if one of those hoses gets stuck on there, you get a pair of pliers and rotate around it. So just get you a pair of vice grips. Sorry, not vice grips. Channel lock pliers. Grab around the hose, rotate a little bit. Don't be too hard. And got it removed. So get that out of our way. Remove these. Lift up. There we go. That gets our intake manifold out of the way. I recommend setting all these bolts back kind of where they came from, so you don't lose them later when you reinstall. Hey friend, we'll get back to the episode in just a minute. Real quick, if you like this, please share it with your friends. Let's get the word out about deceptive, bad maintenance practices recommended by the manufacturer. With that in mind, I created this free guide. If you head over to my website, www.fixyourcar.net, click on that orange button to download the free guide. It will show you the recommended maintenance intervals for all your vehicle's components. So you won't be led astray and led to believe that you can go longer and trash your vehicle before it's ready to go to the junkyard. I want to thank you first. Let's get the word out. Let's not be deceived. And okay, now back to the episode. Now, once you get the intake manifold off, I recommend you cover up these spark plug holes, or not the spark plug holes, the intake holes with some rags. It would be a horrible thing if you drop something down in there. That is the entrance to the motor, and you will surely destroy your motor if you do that. Now, the next part of the video, I want to show you where these spark plugs are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sorry, I didn't catch. There's 6 right there. 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to show you how to do one of these so this video doesn't stay super long, and then we'll cut to the reinstall. When you pull these out, I do recommend you get new ignition coils. This is a GM 3.6 liter. These are notorious for having bad ignition coils. And I'm actually replacing them with the Denso, which is a Toyota part, much better made. I don't exactly know what is wrong with the GM ignition coils. They're just not as well made as a Denso Toyota product. Um, so I recommend replacing these. Plus, if you replace these, you won't have to replace the ignition coils if they prematurely fail later. It's just a smart thing to do. If you're doing all this work, you might as well do it right. Um, and we'll show you how to take these off. So we have this 10mm bolt holding in our ignition coil. We're going to remove that. It's a little bit more. Almost had an accident there. That's why you want to cover up those holes. Then we're going to pull our ignition coil out. And there it is. And then you can see our spark plug down in there. I'm going to set that off to the side. Okay, so when you go to remove your spark plug, you want to use a spark plug socket. Now if you see on the inside of this is a 5H socket. It has a rubber insert in there. And what that does is it grabs onto the head of the spark plug when you put it on there. And it allows you to pull it out. So, remove our spark plug. Get it to a certain point. What I like to do is just get the handle itself and twist it around. There's a lot of threads on a spark plug. You'll feel it when it's loose because it'll just kind of freely rotate. There's our spark plug. This is an AC Delco. I don't know if this is a platinum or iridium. We'd have to look up this part number. But nonetheless, these NGK spark plugs are way better. This is what we're replacing them with. And these are so much better. These along with the Denso coils. You won't have any problems with these. You can probably use these coils for the life of the vehicle. I've done them a lot in my Toyotas. These GMs, though, I don't know why. They're just not made so well. I think they use inferior materials, and that's probably why they fail. But we're going to replace them. So we got our new spark plug. I'm going to put it on here. I always recommend just hand tighten them first with just the handle and the socket. And don't put any anti-seize on there. Typically, the plugs that you already have on there already have anti-seize on them, and what they have left remaining is good enough. So if you put any more, you actually have the potential to seize these plugs up in the motor, and then you have a real problem. Tight. So we're going to get our torque wrench. You're going to torque these to 13 foot-pounds. Just when you feel that ratchet break away, then you're good. And remove that. Next, we're going to put on our Denso ignition coils. New in the bag, even comes with some actual hardware to mount. just till you get them snug. And reconnect our connector. And you're going to do that for the remaining 5. So I'm going to go ahead and do those, and then I'll come back and show you how to reassemble everything. Okay, we got all those installed. Let me just show you what everything looks like. There's all new coils and spark plugs, all 6 of them. There's our intake manifold gasket. I'm going to reuse this one. It says you need to replace it, but from the looks of it, it looks like a reusable gasket, and the torque on these is not very much. It's only 18 foot-pounds, so I'm going to reuse this gasket. These should be basically all the parts that you have. You have 6 spark plugs and 6 ignition coils. So we're going to start by reinstalling our intake manifold. Make sure you don't pinch anything or get anything caught underneath. Take your time. Now that we got that in there, start installing our bolts. What I like to do, just give myself a point of reference, is get 1 or 2 installed on kind of the opposite end so everything lines up nicely. Oh, this is what I remembered. You have to install these bolts in the back here before you install this. So drop those in there. Give you just enough room. I want you to do this cross pattern. I'm just going to snug them down and then do the final torque on them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we'll get our torque wrench and torque them down to 18 foot-pounds. We want to do our cross pattern. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And just go through them all one more time. I think the manual actually calls for you to do that. There we go. And next thing we're going to want to do is reinstall all of our hose and piping. So there's our throttle body sensor. And plastic PVC hose. It was kind of a pain to install. connected right there. And our hose right here. Another connection port there. Get that on there nice and good. Make sure nothing's pinching. Connect our purge and our line. Just dropped a pair of pliers. Attach this connector right here, our 10mm. Reconnect our map sensor. Just go through everything, double check all your connections are good. And you're good. So the last thing, as I mentioned before, is that intake pipe, but we're going to leave that off for now. But other than that, your spark plug job is done. The only other thing that you would put back on is your engine cover, and we're going to leave that off for now too. But other than that, that's how you replace your spark plugs. I hope you enjoyed the video. Also, don't forget to connect your PCV valve from your intake there as well. And other than that, that's it. That's how to replace your spark plugs. Thanks for watching. God bless. Take care.